This is the fourth edition of this Tech Tools for Learner Success series, where we will weave images into Word's magic carpet to place citable figures into your Word documents. We investigate a document prepared in Washington State University's Natural Resource Ecology class as term reports are created. In this first term report of the series, all students prepare a written report about geology of the subject property, Kamiak Butte County Park. This unique butte is defined by 1.6 billion-year-old quartzite bedrock substrate surrounded by 17 million-year-old flood basalts, some layers of which are over 2 miles thick. The current ice age began about 2.6 million years ago, extending through Canada, touching southward into the continental USA states of Washington, Idaho, Montana, and other states easterly. These glaciers did not reach Kamiak Butte. They stopped 100 miles further to the north. About 11,700 years ago, these glaciers began to melt and create Glacial Lake Missoula in Montana and Idaho. Those glaciers melted into waters that accumulated over 2,000 feet deep and extended in a lake of 3,000 square miles. The Clark Fork River ice dam failed not once or twice, but maybe as many as 100 times over dozens or hundreds of years. This scoured out eastern Washington topsoil to pile a surrey of mud and organic materials into a pause point at Wallula Gap. These waters seeped out, but the soils were blown along a prevailing winds to top the Palouse Hills to the east. This is where Kamiak Butte resides too. Students are tasked to write a professional report while citing their sources using MS Word Citation Manager, which includes inserting and discussing at least 2 figures. Oftentimes, these figures are captured from published papers available in books or, more often, over a website. Many will harvest a screenshot from a YouTube video on the topic. We will explore how to use style sheets to create a label and number heading for each figure and how to cite sources. For this, I introduce you to the use of Style Heading 7. I just mentioned Style Heading 7, and for that, I take an explanatory pause. Every semester, about 5% of my students attempt their report, but they use style heading captions. Dr. Bill, there's something wrong with my MS Word. There is no heading 7, so I have to use captions. Look at that. It works just fine. This is the part where I explain that although captions heading will work for your figures, what are you going to use for your tables? In the next video, I describe using heading 8 for table headings. It all comes together when I show you how to make your list of figures automatically show up the list of page numbers perfectly identified through all the edits you make. Captions style heading is not going to work for the tasks you need. Here's how. I start out to address that student's comment that MS Word does not show heading 7. Well, MS Word has reserved headings 1, heading 2, heading 3, heading 4, 5, 6, through heading 9 as special named headings. They exist every time you open a new MS Word file. All these style headings are there. You need to find them. It is easy if you know how and where to look. This is the real clincher. When you open that new document and select Home ribbon, look to the Styles menu, and you see only heading 1 and heading 2. It will not show you heading 3 until you use heading 2 once. Place your cursor on a text line and select heading 2. Immediately, heading 3 is created. As soon as you apply heading 4, then automatically heading 5 is created. You see the trend yet? Well, of course you do, so keep this flowing through heading 6, and you see heading 7 appear. This is what I'm talking about, and you just did it in 30 seconds. Now for a commentary about this professional report you prepare. When you are writing your report, you will discuss significant events, the timing of certain incidents, or the juxtaposition of where they happened. This might be in your report as you write about Glacial Lake Missoula, forming 11,500 years ago. A map of this would contextualize what you share. As you write about this icy puddle, make a reference to the figure which will appear after you tell your reader all about it. Do not show the figure first. You need to give it a purpose for being included in your document. First, you describe it, then you show it. In order to do this, you refer to it with a parenthetical naming of the figure's address. You type open parentheses, figure 1, and closed parenthesis. Those appear at the end of the commentary sentence before the period. There is no need to tell the reader, look below. I am coming back to the numbered figure very soon. There are some superpowers you will engage concerning that name. We investigate a sample report about Glacial Lake Missoula. This is a written report, so no videos work here. You need a sample image showing what you refer to. You will put the label of this figure in the line above the figure, not below it. That is important. The label is one paragraph alone, and the next paragraph is where the figure will appear. You will place this image into the report. This is a significant point. This is its own paragraph. Do not float the image over the text. Make it in line with text. You can adjust the width and height of the image to make it float in the context of the report. Do not worry about its pagination as it refers to the rest of the document. Right now, you are looking only for it to appear with the heading above it. The heading line is the next most significant item. You place your cursor in the line above the figure and type the label telling it what it shows. For this one, I type Glacial Lake Missoula at full pool 11,500 years before present, YBP. This is a good start, but that is only one step of 3. The second step is to cite the source. This is mandatory. In my classes, I score these term report sections based on a 100-point scale. The failure to cite any figure or table results in the entire report being scored 0. I'll stop. One more try to get it right. Otherwise, give it up. For this, place your cursor at the end of the label, before the period. We will go through an entire video in show number 6 of this series, but I step you into it for this one short example. You go to the References ribbon and select from the Citations and Bibliography panel the Insert Citation applet. Now, this opens an option to select Add New Source. You see a new applet open here with many options. You first select the source type from the 17 options. For this image, I tell it how I selected this image from an electronic source. This came from a YouTube video I watched about this topic. Enter YouTube at this address, you see it there. It takes only a little investigation to populate the Citation Manager fields. I see the author's name, D.K. Merrick. Enter that for the author as the last name first, comma, then the first and middle name. I know this is Douglas K. Merrick, so I enter Merrick, comma, Douglas, space, K, period. I see the years ago it was published, but that is not a copyright date. Hey, click on that line and see the actual publication date appear. Hey, now enter these data into the Citation Manager in the obviously named fields. Based on these screens, we do not know where Douglas was as he made this video, but we can get the URL of it. Click on the Share button below the video. It opens with some clear addresses, and the one we need is at the bottom, showing an address with the blue highlighted button saying Copy. Yeah, click it, and it is saved to your computer's clipboard. Leave this screen and go back to MS Word and your Citation Manager again. You need to find the location of the URL, which does not seem evident yet. You look to the lower left side and see the radio box Show All Bibliography Fields. Click that box. Right away, you see another long list of fields you can populate. The list is different depending on which citation format you select. I am doing this through APA Citations. Scroll to the bottom of this list and see URL appearing near the bottom. This is where you paste the address ported by YouTube to your clipboard. Click OK. Now you have it. It will look like this at the end of the label you wrote. Parenthetically, Merrick, 2015. That is an APA citation in text. We are at step 3 of 3. The culmination is managed by leaving your cursor on this line. Do not select any text. Just be in this paragraph, but not on the citation part. This is where we will tell the style sheet to automatically number it. Take your cursor to the Home ribbon, Styles panel, and see the long list of styles available for this document. If you have forwarded the styles from 2 through 7, then you will see heading 7 identified now. Select this heading style for this paragraph. Nothing special happens yet, so you will guide it through the settings needed for your figure labels. Select heading 7 with a right click to left click on Modify. This opens yet another menu item to populate. You can change the font and line settings from the Fast Access area. But for now, look at the lower left corner of this applet to see the Format toggle. Click on this one. You see the list of commands that guides the fonts and paragraphs settings for this style heading selected. In this case, heading 7. First, select the option named Numbering. The panel that opens will show some options, but you need to start with the Define New Number format. We now step into a panel showing lines of options, including the numbered format as 1, 2, 3. Select the one most appropriate. Below those words, you select the number 1 shadowed in a gray box. This shows as hypertext to tell us that it will always be put into the series to automatically number this paragraph style. Place your cursor on this line and use the keyboard arrows to move to the farthest left position. This is where you type figure, capital F, space after. Do not change the hypertext 1 at the end. Leave this one alone. Hey, this looks good. Click OK. You see the new creation on the numbering library. Select it now, and then click OK. You see your paragraph being numbered now. Figure 1, example. This is the perfect setting, but you still need to make another adjustment. Go back to the Home ribbon, Styles panel. Right-click on heading 7. Select Modify. Again, you use your mouse to select the Format toggle. You see this list again, and now select Paragraph. This is a familiar controller for this paragraph. At the top of this applet, see 2 window tabs. Select the right side applet to see radio boxes that you can select and unselect. Select Keep with Next. This makes sure that all heading 7 paragraphs are kept with the next line, which is the figure you placed here. Now you see why I told you to always place the label for the figure above the figure. This guarantees there will never be a page break between the label and this figure. It works when the label is a standalone paragraph and so is the figure line. Never let them float over text. Keep them in line with text. Consider this detail. Do not make the paragraph with the figure be called heading 7. It must be normal. Otherwise, the figure will appear in your list of figures. It happens, but this is how to make it behave. Remember when I told you to create a commentary about the figure's address in the report? Figure 1? That was a manual creation of this reference. That worked as you established this reference, but it is not the final step. You have the figure in the numbering realm, so go to the point where you call it out and select and delete the word figure 1, but leave the parenthetical parameters. Take your mouse to the References ribbon and then to the Captions panel and select Cross-Reference. This shows a new panel with reference type and it automatically picks numbered item on the left. To the right, this insert reference to the paragraph number. Remember, you numbered the paragraph, so this is the linkage you use now. In the list below, you scroll through to find your Figure 1 item. Click on it. Select Insert at the bottom of the applet. Back to the document, you see that Figure 1 has been added inside these parenthetical guides. When you highlight this area, Those texts are hyperactivity controlled by the program. I will insert Figure 2 using the same procedures, and it will automatically number them and show this hypertext reference. It is smart numbering. That means that if I have Figure 1 and Figure 2 in the document, but need to insert a third one that appears between 1 and 2, the program will auto-number the new figure to be number 2 and change automatically the numbering of the previously numbered 2 to make it number 3, including the cross-reference that you made to refer to it. They will always be in order. It gets better. Students in natural resource ecology prepare 4 separate term report sections. Each is a standalone report, with a restart to figure and table numbering, each report starting at items numbered from 1. They are all combined into a master document, and the figure numbering will automatically renumber to consecutively label them through the entire report. Hey, take a look at the last video in this series to see it happen. We take a trip up to the table of contents area of this document. You will place your cursor where you want your list of figures to appear. Navigate to the References ribbon. Go to the Table of Contents controller. Select the Table of Contents button. To the bottom of area of the pull-down menu, click on Custom Table of Contents. When the Table of Contents box opens, deselect the Web Preview Hyperlink radio button. At the lower right corner, click on Options. This opens another applet where you scroll through the TOC level list until you see headings 1, 2, and 3, with check marks on the left, and TOC level columns with 1, 2, and 3 displayed. Deselect these numbers, make them blank, and scroll down until you see heading 7 on the left. Enter the number 1 in the TOC level column on this heading 7 row. This tells the program to make the list of figures based on this style heading number. Okay, click OK on this box, then click OK again. If it asks you if you want to replace the table of contents, select No. We are making a fresh list of figures, and you will keep that table of contents. They are different. Hey, there it is. 3 figures with labels and page numbers, each cited perfectly and arranged just for you. Could you even imagine doing this list manually? You already have a life, and now you know how to make the most of it. We looked at this Geologic Substrate Materials and History report. It has 3 figures, all summarized in a list of figures. Remember to right-click on this table before your final report submission to update those labels and page numbers. This step automatically updates when you send it to print, but today they are not generally printed. They are submitted as an electronic docx file. You must manually update your file contents before passing them along. In the next video, I will walk you through the process of making tables with labels in your Word document, and of course, how to integrate style sheets into the labels for each table within your Word document.